Earthlings have a curious illusion. If their paycheck comes in this month, they must still be safe. But in reality, the second that salary arrives, before it even has time to sit in your account, rent, food, commuting, credit cards, and subscriptions are already queued up to greet it. Sometimes, when you look at your paycheck, it doesn't feel like income at all. It feels more like a cake that just hit the table, and people are already taking slice 1, 2, and 3. So here's the real question. Why do so many Earthlings clearly have a job, and a paycheck too, yet still feel like life is running out of air? Because a job is not the same thing as cash flow, and a paycheck is not the same thing as security. So what is cash flow? Exactly. Put simply, cash flow is about one thing. When money comes in, can it keep up with how fast money is going out? Even more simply, cash flow isn't about how much you've made in total. It's about whether your money can keep flowing in steadily, while still covering what flows out every day. Say one Earthling earns $10,000 a month. Sounds okay? But if rent, utilities, food, commuting, debt payments, and subscriptions add up to $9,500 every month, and most of those expenses hit at the beginning of the month, then even with a $10,000 salary, their cash flow is still tight. Not because they don't earn enough, but because they have no room to breathe. Now take another Earthling who earns $8,000 a month. Not as much, but their spending rhythm is steadier. Fixed costs are lower, and there's still a little buffer left. That person's life might actually be safer. That's the difference between cash flow and income. Cash flow is about whether that money can keep your life from breaking midstream. A job proves that you're still putting out labor. What cash flow really decides is whether your life system can keep running. Put even more bluntly, a job is just an intake pipe. Cash flow is the entire water cycle of your life. Can the water keep flowing in steadily? Is it draining out too fast? Do you have any room in the middle to store some? That's what decides whether an Earthling panics the moment things pause, falls apart the moment they get sick, or starts hearing a low battery alarm in their heart when one payment is a few days late. For many ordinary people, their understanding of cash flow has always been a blank spot. We know we need to make money, and we know not to spend recklessly. And we also know it's best to have some savings. But very few people truly realize that life isn't about how much you happen to make on a given day. It's about whether that money can carry you from one day to the next. And that creates a very common Earthling survival mode. The paycheck isn't especially low, but life always feels tight. You haven't missed a day of work, and you haven't missed a day of worry either. On the surface, life looks normal, but really, you're just relying on the next payment arriving on time. To barely connect today to tomorrow, that's cash flow anxiety. And it's not exactly the same thing as being poor. What many Earthlings are really afraid of isn't that the number in their account looks bad. It's that their life has no buffer at all. You don't dare rest, get sick, or quit. And you don't dare let your income pause. Because you know that the moment money coming in slows down, the money going out turns aggressive again immediately. Rent won't show up 2 days late just because you're tired. Food won't suddenly get cheaper just because you're anxious. And bills won't take pity on you because you've already been trying so hard. That's why the deepest exhaustion for so many Earthlings isn't just about work being hard. It's that their entire life system has been stretched too tight. So tight that it looks like you're going to work, when really you're just keeping your life on life support. So tight that you're not planning for the future anymore. You're just trying to stop tomorrow from suddenly breaking. So real security sounds more like this. Even if life suddenly wobbles a little, I still won't break immediately. I have a little buffer, a little room to shift, a little space before reality starts pushing me around again. Understanding cash flow isn't about turning everyone into a finance expert. It's about finally seeing, for the first time, why so many ordinary people always feel like they can't catch their breath. It's not only because they don't earn enough, it's also because the money in their lives, even if it seems to arrive once a month, is constantly being drained away by pressure and expenses that come daily. Of course, salary matters, but a salary is just one payment that arrives on one particular day. Cash flow is what decides how you keep living day after day. Seeing that clearly isn't about blaming yourself for not being better with money. It's about making sure that the next time you look at your life, you don't ask only, how much did I make? You also ask, can my money really carry my life forward, steadily and well? And one day, if you truly begin to understand cash flow, what you understand may not be just money. What you may really understand is this: what an ordinary Earthling's life actually needs to keep going without breaking. That's it for this episode. See you next time.